Good morning. Welcome to the next lecture of electromagnetic engineering. In this lecture, we are going to discuss chapter number 5, that is electromagnetic wave. And from this chapter, we are going to discuss today electromagnetic wave propagation in lossy media. So let us start. So we already seen the equations of lossless media. We have derived general formats of electromagnetic waves in lossless media. But now we are going to discuss about lossy media. A lossy media is a medium in which electromagnetic wave can propagate and it loses its power owing to imperfect dielectric. So imperfect dielectric means what? It is partially conducting media. In some kind of conductivity is present, and because of that conducting material, some sort of loss will be there because the voltage or amplitude of the current will drop because it will pass through that conducting media, and there will be some drop of voltage or the amplitude of the wave. Hence, that kind of medium where the amplitude or the energy is lost, energy of electromagnetic wave is lost while traveling through it, is called as a lossy media or lossy dielectric. So consider such an linear isotropic homogeneous lossy medium, and consider the Maxwell's equation. Now we are going to derive the equation for lossy media. Okay, derive the wave equation for lossy dielectric. So we know already that by Gauss law, del dot E bar is equal to 0 and del dot H bar is also equal to 0. And that these are the two equations derived from Gauss law. And we know that third equation, that is del cross E bar is equal to minus B bar dot. Del cross E bar is equal to minus B bar dot, and that is equal to minus J omega B bar because dot sign is replaced by J omega. Right, now here we are going to replace dot sign in terms of J omega because uh, we can write this equation in terms of Helmholtz equations. So we'll consider those Helmholtz equations, and we consider omega parameter, that is frequency dependency. Okay, so the final will be, it is equal to minus J omega mu into H bar because B bar is equal to nothing but mu into H bar. Right, so that is equal to del cross H bar, that is the third equation. Del cross E bar is equal to minus, it should be minus here, so let me write minus sign is left, so minus J omega mu into H bar, that is third equation. And we also considered rho v is equal to 0, and as rho v is equal to 0, that del dot E bar has come equal to 0. Right, so this is one more thing that you have to remember, rho v is also 0, charge free region. And fourth equation by Maxwell's is del cross H bar for magnetic field. So del cross H bar is equal to J bar plus J omega D bar. But J bar is equal to sigma into E bar plus J omega. It was D bar dot. So dot sign is replaced by J omega. So it has become J omega D bar. J omega D bar can be also written as epsilon E bar. So it will become J omega epsilon into E bar. So E bar is equal to sigma plus J omega epsilon. So this is fourth equation, and it is in again in terms of Helmholtz parameters. So that is it can be called as Helmholtz equation. Del cross H bar is equal to sigma plus J omega epsilon into E bar. Right. So next, what we do always, we take the curl of either electric field equation or magnetic field equation. So let us consider first electric field. For electric field, we'll take the curl of equation number 3, that is del cross E bar. Okay, so if I take the curl of del cross E bar, then I have to take curl on both sides. So it will become minus is equal to minus J omega mu in bracket del cross H bar. But del cross H bar is already equal to J plus dou D by dou T, and that we have converted into sigma plus J omega epsilon into E bar in equation number 4, right? So we can place it here. Right, and what is the left hand side? Del cross E bar can be written as del square, uh, it can be written as del into bracket del dot E minus del square E, because there is a vector identity, right? So del cross E bar is nothing but del into bracket del dot E, that is written here, minus del square E. So finally we come to this equation, del into del dot E bar is minus del square E bar is equal to j omega mu, because j omega mu is already there, and del cross H bar is replaced by sigma plus j omega epsilon into E bar. Right, so del cross H bar is replaced by this much term. But what we know, del dot E bar is equal to 0. That is, we already seen the first equation, del dot E bar is equal to 0. So this first term will become 0. So 0 minus del square E is equal to minus j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon into E bar. Right. If I again want to remove this minus sign, then I can multiply both the sides by minus 1, and that is equal to del square E is equal to j omega mu, right? So it will become del square E is equal to j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon into E bar, right? So this j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon, will call this term as gamma square. So our final equation will become del square E bar minus gamma square E bar is equal to 0. Where what is gamma? Gamma square is equal to this whole bracket. So that is gamma square is equal to j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon. Now we call whole this term as gamma, and gamma is called as, gamma is a complex number because this there is j term, right? So finally, what equation, main equation we got for electromagnetic wave in lossy media, del square E bar is equal to j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon into E bar. In lossless media we don't get this much long equation, we just got del square E is equal to mu into epsilon into E bar, right? This much small equation we got for lossless media. But for lossy media, what we got, del square E bar is equal to j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon into E bar, and we call this sigma plus j omega epsilon as gamma square. So it is equal to gamma square into E bar. Okay, so we can say that space variation of electric field is equal to, will depend upon the this gamma term, gamma square into E bar. There is no time variation seen, and gamma is including frequency omega. So this gamma also includes mu, sigma. So this space variation of electromagnetic wave depends upon the media parameters as well as the frequency, right? So similarly we can derive equation for H bar also, electromagnetic field also, by considering this equation. If I considering this equation, equation number 4, and if I take curl of this equation, then I can write del cross H is equal to j plus del cross of j plus j omega d bar, right? And that is nothing but sigma plus j omega epsilon into del cross of E, and instead of del cross of E we can put j omega mu into H bar. Okay, and for the left hand side we can write del into bracket del dot H minus del square H. So del dot H is 0, so minus del square H is equal to, again it will become j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon into H bar. So again the similar equation will get if we consider the magnetic field. So the equation is del square H. Del square H is equal to j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon into H bar. This is for magnetic field, and this term is, this bracket is nothing but gamma square. So it is gamma square into H bar. So these two equations are called as general form of electromagnetic equation for lossy media or lossy dielectric, right? So what is this gamma? Let us now consider this gamma. So gamma is called as a complex number and it is expressed as alpha plus j beta. Gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta. What is gamma? Gamma is called as propagation constant and it is measured in meter per meter. Alpha is called as attenuation constant and it is measured in Nepper per meter. And beta is called as phase shift constant and it is also called as wave number and it is measured in radians per meter. Okay, so remember the units are very important. Gamma, unit of gamma is per meter, unit of alpha is Nepper per meter and unit of beta is radians per meter. Alpha is attenuation constant. So how much the wave has been attenuated, that tells the alpha quantity, and beta how much phase shift is introduced because of that wave has propagated through lossy medium, that is nothing but phase shift. So this means that when wave propagates through a lossy medium, it has some attenuation of amplitude and it has some phase shift also, and that phase shift is introduced or it is calculated in terms of beta. Attenuation is calculated in terms of alpha, and gamma total, if you consider both of these together, then it is known as propagation constant. Okay, so there will be example based on this finding propagation constant later on also in transmission line also. And so this gamma, you have to remember, that is equal to alpha plus j beta. For example, if gamma is say 3 plus 4j, then 3 is nothing but alpha and 4 is nothing but beta. In this way we can separate out alpha and beta from that. But if you want to find out separate equation of alpha and beta in terms of mu, sigma, epsilon, all those terms, then we have to solve some formula and we can derive equations for alpha and beta separately. So let us derive the equations for alpha and beta. Okay, so we'll consider the next point, that is wave propagation in lossy dielectric for finding alpha and beta. So we have derived this as common equation, del square E. Del square E is equal to what? Del square E minus gamma square E is equal to 0, or we can write del square E is equal to gamma square E bar. Where what is gamma square? J omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon. Right. So this gamma is propagation constant. Now it is complex quantity, we already know. So it is expressed as gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta. Now let us take the square of both the sides. Then we'll get gamma square is equal to alpha plus j beta bracket square. But what is gamma square? It is nothing but j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon. So that is equal to alpha plus j beta bracket square. Right? That is indicated by equation number 1. So if I expand this bracket alpha plus j beta, then it is equal to alpha square minus beta square plus 2 j alpha beta, which is equal to j omega sigma. Let us expand the right hand side also, that is equal to j omega mu into sigma minus j square omega square mu epsilon. So j square is nothing but minus 1, so it is become minus omega square mu into epsilon. So that is equation number 2. Okay, so from right hand side and left hand side there are some imaginary terms with j. So we'll equate imaginary real parts and imaginary parts. So at the right hand side we will got alpha square minus beta square is equal to minus omega square mu epsilon. So if I want to remove this minus sign, then it will become beta square minus alpha square is equal to omega square mu epsilon. We can multiply this above equation by minus 1, then we'll get beta square minus alpha square is equal to omega square mu epsilon. Okay, this is called as fourth equation. And what is third equation? If you equate the imaginary parts, then we'll get 2 alpha beta is equal to omega square mu epsilon. Is it? No. If we equate imaginary parts, then it is equal to 2 alpha beta is equal to omega mu into sigma. Right. So it should be beta here. So I have to add beta term here. So 2 alpha beta, or we can write 2 alpha is equal to omega mu sigma divided by beta. And what is alpha then? Alpha is equal to what? Omega mu sigma divided by 2 beta. Okay, so we'll call this as equation number 5. So we got one equation for alpha and one equation as beta square minus alpha square is equal to omega square mu sigma. Now if we put the value of alpha, if I take the alpha square and if I put value of alpha square in equation number 4, then alpha square is what? Omega square mu square and sigma square divided by 2 beta. So it will become 4 beta square, alpha square. Now if I want to put this alpha square in equation number 4 and then solve, then I will get this parameter. So beta square minus omega square mu square sigma square divided by 4 beta square is equal to the right hand side of equation number 3 is, sorry, equation number 4 is omega square mu epsilon. Right. So after solving this, we got this final equation. Beta raised to 4, okay, or it should be 4 beta raised to 4. It should be 4 beta raised to 4 minus it is omega square mu square sigma square. Okay, and this term we have to take onto this side, so it will become 4 beta square omega square mu epsilon. So the final equation has become 4 beta raised to 4 minus 4 omega square beta square mu epsilon. No minus sign is there. So it should be into mu epsilon minus omega square mu square sigma square is equal to 0. So this is a kind of quadratic equation, and we can find the roots of this quadratic equation using this formula. X is equal to what? Minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So in this quadratic equation, x is nothing but beta square, right? And so a is nothing but 4, b is nothing but 4 omega square mu epsilon, and c is nothing but minus omega square mu square sigma square. So if we put these values here in this quadratic formula, then we can get alpha and beta separately. First we'll get beta. So beta is equal to what? Omega under square root mu epsilon divided by 2 in bracket under square root 1 plus sigma divided by omega epsilon bracket square, and after that root there is a plus 1 sign, and then the bracket is complete. Right, so this is beta, and if you put this value of beta in the previous equation of alpha, then we will get alpha. And alpha is same as beta, but there is minus sign, remember. Okay, so these two bigger equations we got in terms of omega mu epsilon for alpha and beta, where alpha is what called? It is propagation constant, and beta is called as phase shift constant. Okay, so in this way we can find out the alpha and beta. Then next, what is alpha? Alpha is attenuation constant, and it is defined as it is a rate of decay of the wave in the medium, and it is measured in Nepers per meter. When alpha is 0 for lossless media, because for lossless media sigma is 0, and attenuation of 1 Neper indicates a reduction of e raised to minus 1 of original value. Means if suppose if the amplitude is having 10 volts per meter, and if it is attenuated, then it is how much it is attenuated by 1 Neper, then it should be divided by e, that is 2.57. Okay, so if I divide 10 by 2.57, then whatever you will get, that is nothing but attenuation by 1 Neper. Also 1 Neper can be converted into dB. So 1 Neper is equal to 20 log of to the base 10 of E, or 8.868 dB. 1 Neper is equal to 8.686 dB. attenuation. Okay, so beta is called as phase constant and it is measure of phase shift per unit length in radians per meter. So per unit length means the wave travels in the x direction or in the y direction or in the z direction, and the distance is measured in radians, right? So it is, for one cycle it is 2 pi the distance traveled, and we call that distance as lambda also. So phase shift will be equal to, it is a measure of phase shift per unit length. So 2 pi divided by lambda, we have to take the ratio of these two quantities, and that is equal to omega divided by small v. It is also equal to omega divided by small v. So we have already seen these equations. So beta is equal to omega by v, or it is also equal to 2 pi by lambda. So we have derived the wave equation for lossy media as del square E is equal to gamma square E, or del square E minus gamma square E is equal to 0, right? So what is del square? Del square is Laplacian operator, and it shows the variation with respect to space. So dou by dou x square plus dou by dou y square plus dou by dou z square is nothing but del square. So dou by dou x square, dou by dou x square of E, dou 2 by dou y square of E plus dou 2 by dou z square of E is minus gamma square E is equal to 0. In this way we can expand this equation. Or we can take, if I take consider Ex component, means if the wave is having Ex component, then I can write del square Ex is minus gamma square is Ex is equal to 0. Or if the wave has Ey component, then I can write del square Ey minus gamma square Ey is equal to 0. And similarly for Z. And so this is one equation for electric field in terms of for lossy media. And we can consider the solution of this wave as, if the electric field is, suppose that the wave is propagating in Z direction and the electric field is having X component, that is Ex, then the equation is given by E bar of Z comma T. What does it mean? E bar is the electric field of electromagnetic wave is traveling in Z direction with respect to time t, and is given by, so it is time variation as space variation in bracket, it is shown like that, and it is equal to E naught, that is initial amplitude of that electric field, into e raised to minus alpha z, because alpha is what? Attenuation, and it is exponential attenuation. So e raised to minus alpha z is one term that is multiplied to E naught, and the second term is cos of omega t minus beta z into ax cap, right? So this is because of that frequency variation and phase variation. So alpha variation, frequency variation, phase variation, all the things are incorporated in this equation E bar. So E bar z comma t is equal to E naught e raised to minus alpha z cos of omega t minus beta z ax cap. And similarly, the magnetic field is given by h of zt is equal to h naught e raised to minus alpha z cos of omega t minus beta z minus some parameter, one more term is there included, theta n, that is loss angle. Theta n is the loss angle, and for magnetic field this one more phase shift is introduced, because electric field and magnetic field may have some phase shift again in terms of theta, and that is included here. And this H component has Y component because it is Y for Y field, H of HY AY. So H of ZT is represented as H naught e raised to minus alpha z cos of omega t minus beta z minus theta n into AY cap. So we can represent this wave like this. In this figure, the wave representation is shown. Okay, so or we can just take this kind of solution for this wave. If I consider E of zt is equal to E naught e raised to minus alpha z cos of omega t minus beta z ax cap, then if I sketch the wave at t equal to 0 and some time shift as delta t, then it will be like this. At t equal to 0, the wave is following a constant shape shown by the first curve, straight line curve or the continuous curve, and the time shifted wave is shown by dotted curve delta t. Okay, both of these curves are following, both of these shapes are following e raised to minus alpha z, means there is a attenuation in term exponential attenuation of wave along the z direction. The wave is traveling with a frequency of omega, and there is a phase shift of beta. There is a phase shift of beta with respect to original component E naught, and the wave is traveling in z direction, positive z direction. Minus sign here indicates that wave is traveling in positive z direction. Right. So in this way, a lossy wave can be shown. The amplitude is decreasing in the direction of propagation. Now, if I want to obtain the intrinsic impedance of same wave, we already seen how to obtain the intrinsic impedance. We have to take the consider those equations, those we have seen earlier, that is del cross E bar is equal to minus V bar dot, and the second equation is del cross H bar is equal to J plus D bar dot. From these equations, we can take the curl and we can write the equation similar to the lossless kind, and we can derive equation for eta. And eta is what again? It is ratio of E naught upon H naught. Right. So if we consider H like this and E as previous case, same as EX AX cap, and H as HY AY cap, then E can be written as, suppose if I want to write equation of E bar, then E bar is equal to EX AX cap plus EY AY cap, and H bar is equal to HX AX cap plus HY AY cap. Okay, and if I take the curl of del cross E, then I can take the curl of other side also, and then after equating all the things similar to the lossless media, we can get the equation of intrinsic impedance as eta, and eta is given by square root of, now this is somewhat different term. For lossless media we just got square root of mu upon epsilon, but here what we got, eta for lossy medium E is equal to square root of j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon. Now as there is a j term, this means there will be some angle in polar. If I convert this equation in terms of polar values, okay, then it is equal to mod of eta with an angle of theta n, with an angle of theta n, or we can write this as mod of eta into e raised to j theta n. Right. So this, what is mod of eta? Mod of eta is equal to mu in the denominator, sorry, in the numerator it is square root of mu upon epsilon, and in the numerator it is 1 plus sigma divided by omega epsilon bracket square raised to 1 by 4. Okay, how this is obtained? If I take the j omega epsilon common from numerator and denominator from this equation, then I will get this term, and something j term will be in the numerator. So if I want to find out the magnitude of that term, then it is equal to 1 plus sigma square upon omega epsilon bracket square raised to 1 by 4. Okay, with an angle of theta of tan of 2 theta n, and tan of 2 theta n is equal to sigma upon omega epsilon. This tan 2 theta n is called as loss angle. How much loss in terms of phase shift has been occurred, that is called as loss angle. So tan 2 theta n is equal to sigma upon omega epsilon. And if I have value of amplitude of h bar is a real part of this equation, so then I can obtain value of E bar component. Or if I have value of E bar, then I can obtain the value of H bar if I know the intrinsic impedance eta. So if I want to write equation for H bar, it is equal to H bar is equal to real part of E naught divided by eta into e raised to j theta n multiplied by, all the things are same because H has HY component, so it is E into minus alpha z into e raised to j in bracket omega t minus beta z ay cap. So if you know eta, then we can find either magnetic field if electric field is known, or electric field if magnetic field is known, and we can solve example based on that. So two more things are there. One is wave velocity. We already know that v, small v, that is wave velocity, is given by V is equal to omega by beta, where omega is angular frequency in radians per second, beta is phase shift constant, and also we know that lambda is equal to 2 pi by beta, and mod of eta, magnitude of eta is equal to this parameter. We have seen this equation earlier. So this angle is written in terms of degrees. If I write this angle in terms of degrees, then it is equal to theta n is always in between 0 to 45 degree. At max it is 45 degree, at minimum it is 0 degree. Right, so this tan 2 theta n is equal to sigma upon omega epsilon, and it is this theta n is in between 0 to 45 degree. So tan of 2, suppose it is 45 degree, then tan of 90, it will become tan of 90, and it is equal to sigma upon omega epsilon, and then tan of 90, it is, I think it is infinity. So if sigma is very high, then that loss tangent is infinity. Loss will be up to infinite, loss will be there. Again, loss tangent can be calculated from conduction current density and displacement current density, and this tan theta is also called as ratio of conduction current and displacement current density. So J bar or JC bar divided by JD bar, but JC bar is equal to sigma into E bar, and JD bar is equal to J omega epsilon into E bar. That is D bar dot, right? JD bar is equal to omega it is equal to d bar dot, that we have derived in Maxwell's equation. So d bar dot is nothing but omega, j omega, and d bar is equal to epsilon e, so it will become j omega epsilon into e bar. So e cancel, it will become sigma upon omega epsilon, because this is mod of that. So if I take the magnitude, then it is just equal to omega epsilon, and that is equal to tan theta, where theta is equal to 2 theta n. Okay, so this means loss tangent values will determine the type of media. This angle will determine whether the media is good dielectric or good conductor. Right. So let us see what are the first good dielectric media and good conductor media. But let us complete this equation. So tan theta is small. This means sigma is small, and sigma is smaller than omega epsilon. So this ratio will become less than 0.1 or less than, very less than 1. Then it is called as good dielectric, because sigma is small and epsilon is high, we can say. So loss is small. Okay, and if tan theta is large, this means sigma is high and it is very greater than 1, or it is greater than 10, then such kind of material is called as good conductor, where high loss occurs. Okay, so let us elaborate these terms. What is the dielectric media, whether it is conducting media or dielectric media, how to solve or how to find this. So electromagnetic materials are divided into two classes. One is conductor and the other is dielectric media or insulators. Okay, so how to define these two medias by in terms of equations. So we know the Maxwell's equation, del cross H bar is equal to J plus D bar dot. So that is equal to del cross H bar is equal to sigma E bar plus J omega epsilon E bar. The first term on the RHS is a conduction current density. So this is J bar and this is D bar dot, displacement current density. If I take the ratio of this term and this term, JC upon JD, then it is equal to sigma upon omega epsilon. So for good conductor, conduction current density, if it is high, then sigma is high. This means this ratio will be very greater than 1. This means for good conductor, sigma upon omega epsilon should be very greater than 1. And for good dielectric, sigma upon omega epsilon should be very less than 1. Right. So by using these two equations, we can differentiate whether the material is good conductor or good dielectric. And then we can use respective equation of alpha, beta or eta, like that. Okay, so we'll stop here. So just now we have seen how the material can be differentiated as good conductor or good dielectric. A perfect good conductor is one in which sigma is very greater than omega epsilon. So if sigma is nearly equal to infinity and epsilon is equal to epsilon naught, mu is equal epsilon naught epsilon r, and mu is equal to mu naught into mu r. Okay, so such a medium where sigma is very high, it is called as good conductor. Now if such medium is there, then what are the values of alpha and beta? Some changes will be made there in terms of alpha and beta. So we'll consider earlier equation of alpha and beta. Which equations? We'll consider equations, bigger equations that we have derived for alpha and beta. And from this equation, we are deriving equation of alpha and beta for good conductor. So we know that gamma square is equal to j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon. Okay, from this equation also we can derive that. So let us consider this equation. So as sigma is very high, then we can neglect the second term, j omega epsilon we can neglect, and we can write j omega mu sigma as nearly equal to gamma square. Therefore gamma is equal to under square root j omega mu sigma. So as it is a complex term in square root, we can write this as 1 plus j under square root divided by square root of 2 in bracket omega mu sigma, that is equal to 1 plus j in bracket omega mu sigma divided by 2. Right. So this means there is one real term and one imaginary term. So we can write alpha. If I equate this gamma with alpha plus j beta, then it is equal to, both are same. So means alpha equal to beta equal to omega mu sigma divided by 2 under square root. That is the equation for alpha and beta. Because we want the magnitude of this, so it is same for alpha and same for beta. So it is under square root omega mu sigma divided by 2. Or if I write omega is equal to 2 pi, then this 2 get cancelled and it is equal to square root of pi f mu sigma in terms of f. But we know that velocity v is equal to omega by beta. So if I write omega value of beta here, then I will get this equation under square root of 2 omega divided by mu sigma is the value of v, velocity. So velocity is also changing and it is also depending upon the frequency and sigma. Lambda is equal to 2 pi by beta. So lambda will also change because beta is having different value. Okay, so again we can find out value of intrinsic impedance, and we know that already intrinsic impedance for lossy media is given by under square root j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon, where sigma is very high. And if sigma is very high, then we can neglect this second term in the denominator. So eta is equal to under square root j omega mu divided by sigma, and that can be expressed as square root of omega mu divided by sigma, that is magnitude with an angle of 45 degree. This means E, that is electric field, leads magnetic field by an angle of 45 degree. Okay, so this is value of intrinsic impedance for good dielectric, and this is the value of alpha and beta for good dielectric, and value of V. So depending upon this equation we can solve few examples, but while solving example, first we have to determine whether that material is good conductor or good dielectric using this equation. We have to take the ratio of sigma upon omega epsilon. If it is very greater than 1, then it is good conductor. If sigma upon omega epsilon is very less than 1, then it is good dielectric medium. And then we can write down those equations. For good dielectric means again lossless media, so we can directly switch to lossless media equations. Okay,